Long ago, in a kingdom where giant clock towers touched the clouds, every second of life was protected by time itself. The kingdom was called Auroria. Its people believed that as long as the great clock continued turning, peace would remain forever. At the center of the kingdom stood the tallest tower ever built, the Eternal Clocktower. Its golden gears moved day and night without ever stopping. And hidden deep within that tower was a secret forgotten by time. In a small workshop beneath the city lived a boy named Eli. His father was a humble clockmaker. Together, they repaired broken watches and old ticking machines for the people of Auroria. Eli loved clocks more than anything. He loved the sound of gears turning, the rhythm of ticking hands, the feeling that every tiny second mattered. But Eli dreamed of something greater. He often stared at the Eternal Clocktower high above the city, wondering what secrets it held. One stormy evening, everything changed. A powerful lightning strike shook the kingdom. The clocks across the city suddenly stopped ticking. One by one, silence spread everywhere. Eli noticed something strange. A hidden doorway had opened beneath the clockmaker's shop. Behind it stretched an ancient staircase leading deep underground. Curious, Eli carried a lantern and stepped forward. The staircase twisted endlessly beneath the city, until finally, he reached a forgotten chamber. Ancient clocks lined the walls. Golden gears floated slowly in the darkness. And at the center of the room rested a mysterious object. A golden pocket watch. It glowed softly with magical light. Eli stepped closer carefully. The moment he touched it, the watch began ticking loudly. Tick, tick, tick. Then suddenly, a massive burst of golden energy exploded outward. The ground trembled. The chamber shook violently. And then, silence. Complete silence. Eli looked around in confusion. The floating dust had stopped moving. The candle flames stood frozen in the air. Even the sound of the storm outside had vanished. Slowly, Eli climbed back toward the city. But what he saw terrified him. Everything had stopped. Birds hung motionless in the sky. Rain remained frozen in midair. People stood perfectly still. The entire kingdom had frozen in time. Eli's heart pounded. "What have I done?" he whispered. Suddenly, a shadow moved behind him. Eli turned quickly. A dark creature crawled across the rooftop nearby. Its glowing eyes locked onto him. Then another appeared. And another. Shadow creatures. They were the only things still moving. Eli began running through the silent streets. The creatures followed him through the frozen city. Their whispers echoed through the empty air. The golden watch glowed brighter in his hand, as if warning him. Desperate for answers, Eli returned to the hidden chamber beneath the city. But this time, something was waiting for him. An ancient figure made of glowing light appeared beside the floating gears. "The timekeeper," Eli whispered in shock. The spirit nodded slowly. "You have awakened the heart of time," the guardian said. Eli held up the pocket watch. "I didn't mean to stop time." The guardian looked toward the glowing watch sadly. "Long ago, this watch controlled the flow of time across the kingdom. It was hidden away because its power was too dangerous." Eli looked frightened. "How do I fix this?" The guardian's expression darkened. The longer time remains frozen, the weaker the kingdom becomes. At that moment, the ground shook violently. Cracks of golden light spread across the chamber walls. The shadow creatures are feeding on the frozen world. If time fully collapses, Auroria will disappear forever. Eli clenched the watch tightly. There has to be a way. The Guardian pointed upward toward the Eternal Clocktower. You must restart the great clock before the final hour.
As he climbed higher, the shadow creatures followed, their numbers growing larger with every step. The golden watch ticked faster and faster. Tick, tick, tick. Lightning flashed silently across the frozen sky. At last, Eli reached the top of the tower. There, before him, stood the great clock itself. Its giant golden hands remained completely still. The kingdom's heartbeat had stopped. The shadow creatures surrounded the tower below. The air grew colder. Darkness spread across the sky. Eli looked at the glowing pocket watch, then slowly placed it into the center of the great clock. Nothing happened. Fear filled his chest. Then, the clock began to move. One gear turned, then another. Golden light burst through the tower. The shadow creatures screamed below. But suddenly, the tower shook violently. The shadows attacked. They climbed the tower walls like living darkness. Eli held onto the clock as the storm intensified around him. The great clock turned faster and faster. Golden energy exploded across the sky. The shadows lunged toward him. But Eli refused to let go. "I won't let time end!" he shouted. At that moment, the clock struck. A massive wave of golden light swept across the kingdom. The frozen rain began falling again. Birds moved through the sky. The people of Auroria awakened in confusion. Time had returned. The shadow creatures vanished into dust beneath the light. The storm faded, and silence finally broke. The kingdom was saved. As sunrise spread across the city, Eli stood atop the Eternal Clocktower. The golden watch rested quietly in his hands. No longer glowing, no longer dangerous. The guardian spirit appeared one final time. "You protected time itself," the guardian said softly. Eli smiled weakly. "I was just trying to fix my mistake." The guardian looked proudly at him. "That is what makes a true keeper." Then the spirit faded into golden light. From that day forward, the clocks of Auroria never stopped again. And every night, high above the peaceful kingdom, a young keeper watched over the Eternal Clocktower, protecting every second, every minute, every moment, forever. The end.